How does a secret friendship between two powerful nations turn into a 70-year feud that could ignite a world war? How does a revolution, fought for freedom, create a government that now vows to wipe another country off the map? And how did all of this lead to 12 terrifying days in June of 2025, when the first direct war between Iran and Israel finally erupted, dragging America in and pushing all of us to the brink of a global catastrophe? To understand how close we came to World War III, you need to understand the story of a friendship that became a blood feud. It's a story of spies, kings, and holy warriors, a story of betrayal and revenge. And it's the story of how we got here. Let's turn back the clock. It's the 1960s. The world is locked in the Cold War between America and the Soviet Union. But in the Middle East, a surprising and secret friendship is blooming. Imagine this. Israeli military advisors are in Tehran, training the elite commandos of the Shah of Iran. Iranian oil, kept secret from the Arab world, is fueling Israel's economy. Their spy agencies, the Mossad and the SAVAK, are working together, sharing information on their common enemies. At the time, Iran was ruled by the Shah, a king who loved fancy uniforms, lavish parties, and America. Israel was a young Jewish nation surrounded by enemies. They needed each other, and for America, this was a perfect partnership. They had two powerful friends watching over the region. But while the powerful were shaking hands, a deep anger was growing on the streets of Iran. Many saw the Shah as an American puppet, a man who had sold out his country's soul for Western money and weapons. They saw the American cars and the Hollywood movies as a poison, corrupting their ancient culture, and they listened to the fiery sermons of a man who had been forced to leave the country, an Ayatollah named Khomeini. He spoke of a different kind of Iran, an Iran free from foreign kings and their influence. And millions of people were listening. The people of Iran rose up and threw the Shah out of power. It was a moment of incredible hope for many, a chance to build a new country. When Ayatollah Khomeini returned, he didn't just change the government, he changed the soul of the nation. He declared that Iran's friendship with the West was over. America, once the great friend, was now the great Satan. And Israel, America's closest ally in the region, was now the little Satan, an enemy whose very existence was an insult. The secret friendship was now a public blood feud. The new government of Iran didn't just disagree with Israel, it called for its complete destruction. This was a nightmare for Israel. A powerful, wealthy neighbor that was once a friend was now a mortal enemy, driven by a sacred mission to destroy them. From that day forward, Israel had one primary goal: to make sure Iran never got its hands on a nuclear bomb. But before Iran could turn its full attention to Israel, a new war began. The leader of neighboring Iraq, Saddam Hussein, saw the chaos of the revolution as a chance to grab land and power. He invaded Iran. The war that followed was 8 years of pure hell. It was a conflict that felt like something out of World War I, with trench warfare and human wave attacks. Over 1 million people were killed. Saddam Hussein used deadly chemical weapons, poisoning thousands of young Iranian soldiers. This terrible war taught Iran a hard lesson. You cannot fight a superpower head-on. They were alone. The world was helping Saddam. So, they learned to fight differently. They became masters of what's called asymmetric warfare. If you can't afford a huge air force, you build thousands of powerful missiles. If you can't send an army to fight your enemy directly, you fund and train loyal groups of fighters, or proxies, in other countries to do the fighting for you. This brutal war created the army that rules Iran to this day, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. They are not just soldiers. They are true believers, protectors of the revolution, and they have never forgotten who they see as their true enemies. After the war with Iraq ended, the fighting didn't stop. It just went into the shadows. For 30 years, Iran and Israel fought a secret war of spies and assassins. Think about it like a deadly chess game being played across the entire Middle East. Israel would allegedly send computer viruses, like the famous Stuxnet, to secretly destroy the machines Iran used to make nuclear fuel. Then, a top Iranian nuclear scientist would be killed in a mysterious car bombing in Tehran. In response, Iran would arm its most powerful proxy, Hezbollah in Lebanon, with thousands of advanced rockets all pointed at Israel. Then, a ship owned by an Israeli billionaire would be mysteriously attacked in the middle of the ocean. It was a constant, deadly dance of attack and counterattack, always hidden, always deniable, all while Iran's influence grew, creating a network of loyal fighters in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen, an axis of resistance that was slowly surrounding Israel. The shadow war was getting hotter and hotter, and it was only a matter of time before it exploded into the light. That explosion came in June of 2025. Israeli spies delivered a chilling report to their prime minister. Iran was just weeks, maybe even days, away from being able to build a nuclear bomb. The secret program they had been fighting for 30 years was about to succeed. For Israel, this was the ultimate red line. The moment they had always feared was here. They decided they had to act, and they had to act now. In a massive attack codenamed Operation Rising Lion, Israeli stealth jets and drones struck deep inside Iran, targeting the secret nuclear sites, missile factories, and command centers of the IRGC. Iran's response was furious. For the first time, they launched their most powerful missiles directly from their own soil at Israel. For days, the skies over Israel were filled with fire as its incredible air defense systems, like the Iron Dome, tried to shoot down hundreds of incoming rockets and drones. Most were stopped, but some got through. For the first time, Iranian missiles were striking Israeli cities. The shadow war was over. A real war had begun. The world watched in horror. Then, America was dragged in. When an Iranian missile went off course and landed near a huge American airbase in Qatar, the US unleashed its own power, sending in stealth bombers to finish the job the Israelis had started. The message was clear: stand down. After 12 terrifying days, a fragile ceasefire took hold. The missiles stopped flying, but the world was changed forever. So now we can answer the questions we started with. How did a secret friendship turn into a blood feud? It happened in 1979, when a revolution transformed Iran from a partner of the West into its sworn enemy, turning a strategic alliance with Israel into a religious and existential battle. How did that feud lead to a direct war? For 30 years, both sides fought a secret war of spies and proxies. But as Iran's nuclear program got closer and closer to the finish line, Israel decided that the risks of the shadow war were greater than the risks of a real war. They chose to strike first, and Iran chose to retaliate directly, shattering the unspoken rules of their long conflict. The War of June 2025 was not a random event. It was the final, logical step in a 70-year story. It was the moment when the ghosts of the past, the ghost of the Shah, the ghost of Khomeini, and the ghosts of the Iran-Iraq War all came rushing back to demand a final, bloody reckoning. The fighting has paused, but the feud remains, and the entire world is now forced to watch this ancient land, caught between revolution and revenge, and wonder what the next chapter of this dangerous story will be.